Ooh. Feels good. Happy Friday out there. All the Jeromes bringing in the daily Jeromes live stream. It's a good time. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be a great time. Real excited about it. But we have another 45 minutes, 52 minutes, almost an hour of hashtag content for you to send you off into the lovely weekend. We got some Q&A. We got a bunch of awesome stuff going on here. So it's going to be good. And if you're new to the channel, we certainly don't take ourselves too seriously. We're Minnesota Vikings based, but also during the quarantine and during this really weird time, we're tangenting off on several different things. So hopefully you like tangents, hopefully you like food talk, hopefully you like movie talk, because that's what this channel is. It's a good time. So first off, I thought about Joe Mauer, right? Joe Mauer was a Hall of Fame level player. I think eventually he will get into Cooperstown. Really underappreciated during his time here with the Twins. Like, hey, he doesn't hit home runs. Well, he was a 4 average hit. Doesn't matter. But Joe Mauer, he was a bad man back in the day on the football field. I was thinking about Joe Mauer and Allen Iverson, where Allen Iverson, if you have a chance to go look up Allen Iverson's high school football highlights, he was a dude. Like fully Hall of Famer, first ballot in basketball, but he actually could have been really something in football as well. But Joe Mauer, I mean, people forget that Joe Mauer, Cretin-Durham Hall, he was offered a full scholarship to play football at Florida State. And now, Florida State back then was a bigger deal than it is even now, right? So back when Florida State was freaking Florida State, talking about like Peter Warwick, talking about the big time program that it used to be. And Joe Mauer, prior to Cretin-Durham Hall, St. Paul represent, I mean, he was offered a spot. And it will forever bug me to think, what if Joe Mauer had picked football, right? Mauer is a big dude. He's like 6'5", 240, I want to say. Look at Joe Mauer. We got a height and weight. The hell is this? Joe Mauer, height and weight. All right, so Joe Mauer, 6'5", 230. All right. He had a strong arm. He was a stud. And, you know, would the bilateral weakness have hurt him in the NFL? I don't know. I think he certainly probably would have made the NFL. I think he would have won the starting quarterback job because it's here. Joe Mauer. Let's see, when did Joe Mauer graduate high school? Baseball. So 2001 draft. So he would have been 2001 Sports Reference, 2001 Florida State. Because I think we're talking about like the Chris Ricks era. So he would have been a true freshman. Bobby Bowden. All right, so Chris Ricks, Adrian McPherson. Yeah, Chris Ricks was just not good. Yeah, like he was not very good. So I think that Joe Mauer certainly could have been the mix there. All right, so now, say he redshirted that year. This would have been his redshirt freshman year. So Chris Ricks back at it again, Adrian McPherson. You can see that it just went back and forth between Ricks and McPherson for a couple of years. Redshirt sophomore year, which I think, Chris Ricks still there. I actually think by this point, Mauer would have had the starting job. So he would have been draft eligible in 2004. Oh my God. All right, so Wyatt Sexton, really? And Chris Ricks? Cool. But yeah, Joe Mauer would have been draft eligible for the 2004 draft, the one that had Eli and Big Ben and Phillip Rivers and J.P. Lossman. Wow. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. But yeah, we'll put it out to a poll. Would Joe Mauer have been a Pro Bowl level quarterback? And yeah, it's... I get Pro Bowl is more of a popularity contest, but you know it's a general line of demarcation. Although Trubisky is a Pro Bowler, but 70% say nah. I should have reworked it. Would Joe Mauer have made the NFL? I think probably would have been like 85% yes. So we'll never know. Although he is only 37, which is just a year older than Aaron Rodgers, but nah. All right, so we had some leftover questions that we didn't get to yesterday, so I said that we'd get to them. So let's see here. See, said Top Gun. Cool. If he can't, in my opinion, his 3 years were a waste, and the team should consider a trade. That's what the Vikings brought him in to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, it's so funny how the goalposts literally just keep moving with Kirk Cousins, where when you gave Kirk Cousins a 3-year, $84 million fully guaranteed deal, just a precedent-setting deal, it was like Super Bowl. This team, 2017 NFC title game, blah, 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 blah. But then you add Kirk Cousins, and then if the Vikings don't get to a Super Bowl, they don't win a Super Bowl, it's like, well, it's a team game, bro. It's a team game. What do you want? No, that's what Kirk Cousins is paid to do. He was the highest paid free agent quarterback in NFL history for a reason. That's to get to and win a Super Bowl. But now the goalposts are just shifting and moving. So, Portford Skull. If you were Slick Rick for a day and got to make any trade happen, what deal would you make? You must trade at least one player in a future draft pick, and no, you can't trade Alpha Line for Pat Mahomes. I would trade I would trade 2 first-round picks and Ben Gedeon for Aaron Donald, or maybe even 3 first-round picks. I would do that. Andy's Evil Twin. Good movies are The Rundown and Walking Tall before he got annoying. Big fan of The Rock before. Yeah, those are good. Where I actually like The Rock's full body of work. He's phenomenal. He's a really good actor. He's really grabbed the bull by the horns, pardon the pun. Like him and Jumanji, like both of them, they're really good. So I think Rock has turned a corner. Kellen Smith, do you have any really early playoff predictions? Oh, yes, we do. So we just did the video on this. 1 seed Vikes, 2 seed Bucks, Seahawks, Cowboys are well, yeah. Go watch the video. There we go. So you talked about swingers. B. Woodall, my personal opinion, Toy Story 3 was the best one. Toy Story 3 was good. Where I was trying to think of the last time I actually teared up at a movie, and it might have been in the theater, Toy Story 3, when they were all getting ready to die together. They're just like, this is it. And then they start holding hands and stuff. It's like, ow. Actually, no, I lied. Coco. Man, watching Coco with your daughter, and just like, man, that's rough. Taylor Greeno, in regards to the 2 videos, answer that one. Dabba, if the Vikings had traded Zimmer to the Cowboys, what will the Vikings get in return? Probably a first-round pick. Could have been C.D. Lamb. Man. Cats Musical, Gummo. Zach Hazley, it's top 5 Nick Cage movies. For me, it's National Treasure, Con Air, next, Sorcerer's Apprentice, The Rock. It's a pretty good list. I would say Con Air 1, National Treasure 2, Kick-Ass 3, Face Off 4, and The Rock 5. Although Tiger King's going to be clearly number 1 real quick. Although The Wicker Man, not the bees. AJ Barnes, if you could swap out any current quarterback other than Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson for Cousins, who would it be and why? Skull. I'll pick Deshaun Watson. Deshaun just has it. I think he's a great leader of men. I think that he has thrived despite not great conditions in Houston. I think Bill O'Brien is actively trying to ruin Deshaun Watson's career. So, yeah, I would pick D-Watt. What up? There we go. All right, so this one's. Brady Miller, just want to say Preacher Paul's a legend. That is all. Absolutely agree. Full on. Let's see. Preacher Paul doesn't seem like he's in the chat as of yet. So must be driving, must be doing something. But yeah, Preacher Paul, hauling it for all y'all is the best. Oh, speaking of which here, Preacher Paul, have a blessed weekend. Jeromes, catch up with y'all on Monday, taking a break till Sunday. Skolicious. Oh, that explains it. There you go. Laces out Dan. With the Giants taking Thomas with their first pick, that raised a lot of questions about Nate Solder. If the Giants would come, could you see him as a reclamation project? It wasn't that long ago he was anchor for the cutoff, probably for the Patriots. Yeah, I think a lot of it was Nate Solder benefited from Tom Brady having great pocket awareness and just getting rid of the ball. He also benefited from Dante Scarnecchia, who was the greatest offensive line coach in NFL history. Went to the Giants, was the highest paid left tackle in NFL history, and it was just bad, just straight up bad. So I say no. Although it was kind of cool watching him coming out of Colorado, where he was like 6'9", damn good time. JD Mack, with the 3-4 nickel and dime becoming more and more the norm across the league, do you think eventually the league will return to the wing tee and wishbone and the run game will become more? See, we're getting questions cut off. And the run game become more prevalent? Yeah, I think it's always a game of cat and mouse, and things are always changing and then rechanging and then rechanging. And you see it. I mean, you saw it with the Ravens, where the Ravens adapting to Lamar Jackson becoming a very heavy read option team, becoming a very run-heavy team. That's old school football. I mean, that's old school inverted veer football, and it's something that caught defenses by surprise because you always want to be different. It's like one of the reasons why the service academies always seem to run either some sort of, well, I don't want to say gimmicky, but like a triple option offense. You look at Navy, you look at Air Force, you look at Army, just because it's different, and it does give you a bit of a more level playing field. Where if you try to line up, say if Navy tried to line up and just run gap down the throat of Alabama, it's not going to work. But if you run the triple option, an offense that some of these kids haven't seen since high school, I mean, you're going to have a fighting chance. And with the NFL, I think you're starting to see some of the run-heavy concepts, some of the option, like you've seen it. The read option was sexy a couple years ago. RPOs are starting to come in. So, yeah, it really is fun watching the game of cat and mouse, offenses and defenses. Sam Maros, do you think Adam Thielen makes everybody better around him like Christian McCaffrey, or is it just me? God damn it. Why are all the questions getting cut off? Also, what do you think about Arizona and Florida letting pro sports start up again? Well, I think it's foolhardy to think that every state and every region is the same when it comes to the Rona. So New York City is obviously going to be different than Arizona, which is a very sparsely populated state. You got a lot of open space, you got a lot of hot, dry temperatures. And Florida, I mean, everyone criticized Florida, but they're actually coming out of this looking pretty damn good. I think the governor's done a good job with Florida. And yeah, it does make sense that warm temperature areas, states that have sparser population. You look at Arizona, you look at Texas, you look at New Mexico, you look at parts of California, you look at Nevada for sure, that they're going to start reopening before some of the more densely populated Northeast states like New York City, Massachusetts. You look at Maryland, Baltimore area, DC. It's going to be different. It is. And you look at Minnesota, where Governor Wall is starting to open things up now with the state. I think that is smart. I think Minnesota's had a low number of cases, and I think that outside the Twin Cities, I mean, it is a pretty rural population. So there you go. I think eventually, like, blanket rules for every state is just stupid. Well, actually, that applies to everything. Caden, every round player that you were disappointed that the Vikings didn't take. All right. Wiki 2020 NFL draft. All right, so 22. Now I'm in on Jefferson because I have to say that, otherwise people get mad at me in the comments. So in on Jefferson. See if they didn't take Gladney. Jalen Johnson, I guess. See, let's just highlight all the Vikings picks. Ezra Cleveland, Ezra, yeah. If they didn't go Ezra there, I guess Josh Jones, or AJ Dillon. I mean, Jeremy Chin would have been intriguing. Physical freak. You do wonder. Antonio Gibson went a lot higher than people expected. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to do. See Cameron Dantzler there. McTelvin Agim, probably. Or Matt Part, wouldn't mind if you went a different route with Ezra Cleveland at 2. See, Wanham. I guess, probably not Charlie Heck. Well, Wanham, Lynch, and Dyer are so close together. I guess Amik Robertson thrown in there. Maybe AGG. Beadish for sure. Tossed in there. Oh, Nick Harris. Yeah. I guess Bryce Hall, since he fell so far. 5th round, Hand and Osborne. Well, Osborne, DPJ, James Prochet, KJ Hill. Yeah, there's DPJ. Let's see. Brandell, Metellus. Oh, yeah, Prince Tegwinoga, I believe, was still on board. I think so. Willikis, it is what it is. Actually, where'd Prince go? Prince was a 6th round pick. Oh, yeah. Prince is on board when they took Blake Brandell, which is very interesting to me. Yeah. And then the rest of it is, it is what it is. Next up is Eric Bracamontes. Which free agency move, draft decision, coaching move had the most impact on the franchise overall? Like this year or all time? I'm going to say this year. See, free agency move. Letting Everson Griffin go. Guess that's a big one. Other than that, trading Diggs. Moving on from Jerry Gray, fresh set of eyes in the defensive back room. Draft decision. Justin Jefferson, I guess. Yeah. Shank the double Doinkin Bank, a.k.a. Cody Walsh. It's Cody Parkey. Oh, Cody Walsh. I get it. Seeing as Zimmer, Fredette, and Rick Ansley Spielman have made no attempt to bring in veteran help on the offensive line, are we taking the Colts and Cowboys approach and bringing in young guys? And allowed to build and burn together. I think that they're just sold like, hey, Rashad Hill and Dakota Dozier are your veterans. Best of luck to you. But I think it does speak to the faith that they have in Drew Simeon and Oli Udoh in year 2. Also, I think that they do have some intriguing pieces. I mean, Jake Lucina as a UDFA, Kyle Hinton as a 7th-round pick, Blake Brandel is a 6th-rounder, potentially long-term. Maybe he's that swing tackle. And then, of course, Ezra Cleveland. Peter Anderson. You criticized Kirk singing in the last episode. Have you seen the video of him singing in his high school musical? No. Also, don't care. Chip Diamond. How good would have Sharif Floyd been if he didn't get injured? He would have been a Pro Bowler. He would be up there. He'd probably be top 5, top 7 in terms of 3-techs in the league. Geno Atkins ceiling, would that have been him too haughty? Maybe not. But dude was just good. And that first step, that disruptiveness was just off the charts. Sucks. JD Mack, thoughts on Caleb Brantley? I think he'd be worth trade to the Skins for, really reminds me of a young Linval. I like Brantley in the draft process coming out of Florida, but I haven't kept up with him enough to have an educated opinion on him right now. Carnivius Mustachio III. Patrick Charms remembers when Dalvin came in the league first year in 2017. Patrick Charms remembers he had Jerick McKinnon in his running back room. Yeah, there you go. Lucas Johns, I know you have a daughter and you've talked about having a son too. Have you and your wife thought about any boy names? Yeah, we had our son. She had her son. She did a lot of work. I didn't do much. He is 7. He's either 7 or 8 months now. Stud. Future 3-tech, by the way. It's going to be Nikita Whitlock. He's going to be 5'10". He's going to be 300 pounds and just a whirling dervish of 3-tech prowess. It's going to be great. TBE Mike. What rookie of the Vikes may not have an immediate impact, but will have a big impact in a few years? What Breaking Bad character is the best fit? Kirk Zim Hunter. Impact. Years. I think Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't be shocked if he had sort of a mild rookie year and then banged it out as a 1,000-yard receiver in a couple years. Other than that, Cameron Dantzler. Maybe Dantzler and Holton Hill split reps for a hot second, but Dantzler down the line. Say James Lynch once he figures out where he's going to play. Oh, Kyle Hinton. Let's go. Breaking Bad characters for Kirk Zim. Here. All right, so Zimmer would be Mike Ehrmantraut. Yeah. Here. We'll get visuals here. Zimmer would be Mike. Mike and Mike. Kirk would be the female from Madrigal. What was her name? Oh, yeah. All right, so there you go. Let's see. Who question? Just all the Vikings. So Spielman would be Saul for sure. Walter. I don't even know if there is a Walter on the Vikings currently. I don't know. Gideon is Schrader. Gideon's Hank. I don't know why. Let's see. Diggs would have been Gus. No. Diggs is far too blatant or blunt to be Gus. Who would be Gus? Daniil could be Gus. Super quiet. Everson is Tuco. See, Everson's Tuco. I guess Thielen could be Jesse. There isn't a perfect Walter White on the Vikings. Isn't. But like I said, Zimmer's Mike. Linval was Huel, but now that's Michael Pierce. He's Huel. Gideon is Skylar and Hank's wife combined. Just get them out of the show, please. All right, there you go. Yeah. Skylar was one of the most unlikable characters in TV history. She really was. It's just like, I don't know what it is. Let's see here. Chase Engelke. It's hilarious how many Bears fans commented on your reaction to the Bears roster video. All these other fans don't have an own channel, so they got to go to the other channel and argue topics. Agree. So respect Tom Grossi and whoever else is on like the Packers vlogger beat. I don't really know. Is that calls them? Do the Bears have one? Bears vlogger. Guess I gotta put Chicago Bears. Ha! It's got a picture of Segura and Bert. Chicago Bears blogger. Let's see. It's Tom Mahler, the guy. 128 subs. Okay. 10K views. So got that. See Trubisky, Potaka. No ketchup. No ketchup is a good name for a Bears vlog. It's good. Oh God. All right, so yeah, this is the Bears blowing the 20-point lead at Lambeau. I believe that was week 1. I think that was the first Khalil Mack game where he just ran out of gas because he was out of shape. Yeah. Rohan Kumar was Waspy, Sushi, and Bento. McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, Frankie, and Benny's. All right, so Rohan, I'm guessing, is from overseas. So some of these wasabi, actually, it might not be overseas. All right, so this one is. Oh, this sounds really good. This sounds right up my alley, though. I've not heard of this chain though. Based in London. Oh, also Nando's. We need more Nando's. Are there any Nando's in the United States? Nando's United States. Which is something I want to do. Like their peri peri is just amazing. So South African flame grilled chicken. All right, so here's 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to work. All right, so there's a couple of Nando's in DC, a couple in Chicago. Congratulations. That's it. All right, so I'm going to work. I'm going to bring a Nando's to the Twin Cities. Also, I'm going to bring a El Pollo Loco, just 2 really good chicken joints. Because, I mean, when you think about fast food chicken, you think about KFC, you think about Raising Cane's, you think about Popeyes, all that stuff. But no, just something about delicious grilled, roasted chicken. It's just great because fast food doesn't all have to be terrible for you, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Frank and Benny's. I've never heard of that one. All right, so both are in London, or based out of London. Frank and Benny's. Italian-American themed restaurants. Okay. So is it fast food or sit down? Sort of a sit down. So it's sort of like an Italian TGI Fridays, or it's like the. Actually, no. This is TGI Fridays or Fuddruckers. You guys remember Fuddruckers? Yeah. So by default, I'm just gonna say Waspy, Sushi, and Bento because I'm sure it beats the crap out of McDonald's, KFC, and Burger King. Hoops. Love the work, Andy. In what year, realistically, do you think we'll run the NFC? Right now, 2020, this year, right meow. Thomas Miles Jr. Love watching the stream after work. Best history podcast. School from Mason City, Iowa. Mason City, the crown jewel of North Central Iowa. Best history podcast. For me, it's Hardcore History, Dan Carlin. It's phenomenal. He just came out with a book. Go buy the book too. Also, The History of Rome by Mike Duncan. So he does History of Rome as well as he did Revolutions, which is just a recap of various historical revolutions. It's really good. I've heard that History on Fire is really good. I have not partaken. It's on the to-do list. But yeah, check those 3 out. Also, if you're watching the live stream, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple of shout outs. There you go. Boom. Tony Chesser. What are your thoughts on homemade beef stew? Agree. And also favorite beer to drink. See, right now, for some reason, so I love Texas. Visited Texas a bunch throughout my life, and I really enjoy Texas. I love the heat. I think the people are awesome. Tacos, the Tex-Mex is phenomenal. Also, Shinerbach. So Shinerbach is just this really good beer. Here we go. Shinerbach. Shining Bock beer, Shining Bock beer, Shining Bock beer. And it's very ubiquitous. It's almost as widely available as Lone Star down in Texas, but it's just good. It's just good, dark, full-bodied, delicious beer. It's phenomenal. And yeah, summer beers, the Sam Adams Porch Rocker is really good. It's like citrusy and bright and just really good summer sipping beer. So there you go. Do that. So here, Carnivorous Mustachio the third. Low key, the 2017 Vikings Saints Week 1 Sam Bradford with John Gruden as announcer is truly amazing. Yeah, some of those throws that Sam Bradford made before he just left were just amazing. Just amazing time. Andy Maxfield, head down to the Rushford area to catch trout and throw back some surly. Any recommendations on how to cook them? So trout, I like keep it as whole as possible. So what I'll do is I'll gut the trout, scrape the scales. Well, actually, scrape the scales first and then gut the trout. It's a little bit easier that way. And then just pan roast it. There you go. Just butter, so brown butter. If you got some herbs and chuck it in the cavity, salt. It's right. Just something about crispy skin trout that's kept as whole and as rustic as possible. It's great. It's good stuff. Abza Abdi, can't wait to listen to your live stream tomorrow. Boom. Jason Norman, most people have been looking at the skill set overlap between Thielen and Jefferson as a possible negative. However, it can be spun as a positive because it makes more difficult for defense's game plan. Corners cannot just adjust their game plan. Well, I think, I don't know if it's necessarily a benefit or a negative. I don't really see it as a positive, but I think what you will see is more Adam Thielen exploring the space on the outside more as he did in like 2016 before he started kicking inside more and more. Charlie Boltman, who had a better Vikings career, Chris Carter, Randy Moss? I guess specifically Vikings career, you'd say Carter because he was here longer. Warren Moon or Randall Cunningham? I guess you'd probably have to say Warren Moon because Randall Cunningham basically only had one big year. Robert Smith or Dalvin Cook? Smith, just because he's played longer. Jared Allen or Chris Dolman? Ooh, that's a tough one. All right, so let's see here. PFR, Jared Allen. Because both of them had success elsewhere. Jared Allen started his first 4 years at Kansas City. By the way, the Chiefs drafted him as possibly as a long snapper, which is just insane to me. So Vikings career sacks, he had 85.5. PFR, Chris Dolman. Imagine a defensive line where you have Chris Dolman and John Randall, though. Viking sacks, 96.5. He played 154 games with the Vikes. Jared played 96. I guess you'd have to say Dolman. More sacks, played here 4 more years. So, yeah, Dolman was legit. Also, I forgot that he came back after that 99 season. Or 98 season. So he's like, I got to give me some of that. I'm in. He had 8 sacks at 38 years of age. No, with the Niners in 98, he had 15 sacks at 37. Yeah, eat that, Dwight Freeney. Just amazing. R.I.P. Chris Dolman, by the way. It's rough. Sad. It's a good question, though. Griffin Creer. With speculation on it being Kirky's team and Tricky Rick's, how happy are you with what Zimmer has done with the Vikes? How happy are you with what Zimmer has done with the Vikes? Very, but also I want more. You know what I mean? There we go. A couple shout-outs. Marcus Egelbrecht, Skull from northeastern Montana. Love Montana. See here, well, see here. Zach Balla, score from NoCo. What's up? Rumalad Mazel makes incredible Peri Peri Buffalo Wing. Yeah, Peri Peri is like good. People don't even know. Skull Vice, Soul from Saskatchewan. Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Max Cohen, NYC. See here. Peter Hoffer, Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is a great town, by the way. Like beyond Ohio State, the Ohio State University, it's just a great town. It's almost like the northern version of Austin, Texas, where you have like the art scene, you have big enough where you have lots of attractions, you have the Blue Jackets NHL team. They have a lot going on, Columbus. Purple Rain, there you go. Boom. Shout outs. Love you guys. Lucas Johns, do you think it's possible to keep all of your current running backs or will end up losing one or more eventually? Well, it is the position of attrition, and I think it is important just to keep cycling through running backs, which was A little bit surprised that they didn't draft a late one or even bring one in as a UDFA, but understand, respect. So you got Dalvin, you got Madison, you got Boone, you do have Amir Abdullah, but you have to just keep cycling through. Find the next Mike Boones, find another UDFA that can be a contributor. Draft a mid-round guy like Dalvin, draft a mid-round guy like Alexander Madison, just to keep churning through that running back position, because I'm very against giving running backs a second contract, because that's how it goes. That's how it be. Jerome 15. What's your favorite cheap meal to eat? Everything. Just pizza. Just like so, my family, we always do pizza on Friday night. It's something that brings us together, and we watch a movie and just hang out. Hopefully, it's something that we continue to do as our kids get older. But yeah, just pizza. I'm typically a thin crust guy. Not talking about like New York style thin crust, like folded up, although that is phenomenal. We do make that from time to time. But I'm talking about, so I grew up, my local pizza place did a thin crust pizza and then cut into squares. So it's kind of like Heggy's adjacent, you know what I mean? But also Heggy's a great Minnesota company as well. So for me, Minnesota pizza is thin crust, lots of toppings, cheese on top, cut in the squares, and you're good to go. So we typically do that. Although I did make a Chicago-style deep dish Italian pot pie the other week. Oh, man. Like, it's not pizza, but it's still just really, really friggin' good. It's good. Cyberboy123. All right, so that's my favorite cheat meal. Other than that, like the tacos I make are relatively light, so it's not really a cheap meal. Like, they're not like Taco Bell, so they're like super light, super fresh. Like the wings I make, I typically smoke wings, or so they're not like deep fried or breaded. So even like the junky food that I typically eat is relatively clean. Eat a lot of steak, eat a lot of burgers, no bun. Yeah. Cyberlo123. Andy, you're the man. Keep up the good work. You should make a video where you trigger all the fan bases. I can't remember if you made one before. We should do that. We should do a Drew McGarry video version of why your team sucks and just like trash every team. I wonder if McGarry's going to do that this year. I don't know. Man, there's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of furloughs in sports media, and it really does suck. It does suck. Jacob Sly, what specifically should we look for in Bradbury year 2? Hope he continues progress, especially because he has my jersey number 56, badass center number, IMO. 56 is a good center number. It is really good. Specifically, so someone pointed this out in the comments, where Bradbury had a great bench, where he had like 32 bench reps or something like that. So he had upper body strength. The problem with him is that in the haunches. So it's probably a good thing they didn't do like squat or clean and press or clean and jerk at the combine, because Bradbury, you saw the anchor just was not there. But in the weight room, add weight, add size. I think that's going to be the hallmark there, where he doesn't have to come in and be just like Stonewall Jackson at the center spot, but being able to get stalemates, not being overpowered. I think that's what you're going to see in Bradbury in year 2. Hopefully not at the expense of too much of his movement skills. Caden, which actor or actress could be a Hall of Fame football player? Does Bubba Smith count? Because he was Hightower in Police Academy, so he's technically an actor. Yeah, it just speaks to how high a level of athletes these guys are, that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could barely get on the field. He was a rotational player at the U. He was a rotational defensive lineman, and he just couldn't get the time of day. Like, he's on teams with Warren Sapp, and man, or like Brock Lesnar, world-class athlete, obviously couldn't make it in the NFL. The Roman Reigns, Matt Mitrione, who's a great MMA fighter. He was with the Vikings for a hot second. Yeah, it's just so weird. John Cena, does he count? Just trying to think. Terry Crews. Terry Crews, for as jacked, as physically specimen as Terry Crews is, he barely got the time of day in the NFL, Terry Crews, because he went to Western Michigan before PJ Fleck got there, rowed the boat. And he was like a borderline practice squad player, special team guy, like off and on teams. Like, very interesting about Terry Crews. So he played in 32 career games, 0 starts. But you look how jacked Terry Crews is. It's like, oh, that guy can barely make the NFL. And also, you notice the gaps in here. So Terry Crews, is a great painter, apparently. So what he would do whenever work was sparse or whenever he was often on a practice squad, he would actually paint portraits of, because I remember in the interview he said he did one of Natron Means when they're both on the Chargers. So he would paint portraits for cash instead of, like robbing his friends. God, what a stupid story. DeAndre Baker and Quentin Dunbar. It's a good thing we didn't trade for Dunbar. Yeah. But yeah, it's tough. Like the most jacked dudes you would think in Hollywood, like Bill Goldberg, The Rock, John Cena, Terry Crews, like they couldn't even sniff sustained success in the league. So it's rough. Any surprise roster makes for the Vikings this year? I'm going to say Courtney Davis, Neville Clark, Jake Lucina, Kyle Hinton. Kellen Smith, do you have a second channel in case this one gets taken down? I do, and it's monetized. Also, how do you like your steak? So I'm like baseline medium rare, just slightly under medium rare, but also depends on the cut. So skirt steak, obviously you want full cooked, otherwise that's gonna well done. Otherwise that's gonna be really really chewy and tough. But if you go like filet, I'm not that big a fan of filet. I know that everyone and their mom's like filet. Use filet for carpaccio. If you're gonna do a raw preparation, sure. But filet, sirloin, cuts of meat, beef that have low fat content, a little bit closer to rare, still with a nice sear on the outside for sure. But also those are really easy to just completely overcook it and lose it. Ribeye actually like closer to medium, still medium rare, still pink center, but closer to medium just because, there's so much fat content in a ribeye that you want a lot of that rendered out because that's more flavor. That's a little bit less gristle, even though there's not that a little more shirtless, sometimes pantless, depending on the time of day. Just grilling up a big fatty ribeye or a nice, just beautiful piece of steak or nice fatty piece of lamb and just like eating it with your hands. Just salt and fire. Salt, fire, meat. That's all you need. But my favorite cut of steak is probably New York strip because I think it does balance the fattiness as well as the leanness. So that one, direct center, medium rare. There you go. Brady Miller. All this talk about Russell Wilson getting traded makes me wonder what the chances are the Vikings could trade for him. Thoughts? I don't know. Does Pete really want Kirk Cousins? Nah. Travis, top 5 reasons Harrison Smith should be in the Hall of Fame. Harrison Smith. But he won't. Mr. Popo, what type of bait do you use when you're going fishing? If I'm going to use live bait, I like using leeches. Like I'm enough of a novice fisherman that I don't have specific bait catered to each type of fish that you're kind of trying to catch. Typically in Minnesota, you're getting northerns, you're getting walleyes, you're getting sunfish, panfish, whatever. But yeah, leeches, sometimes grubs like the little wax worms. Other than that, just like spinner bait. I don't even know if that's a technical term, but more seasoned fishermen will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's basically it. Jack Oberg, do you like Michael Pierce? I love Michael Pierce. I'm excited. I can't wait to see Michael Pierce. He's a beast. I think he's a little bit underrated as a pass rusher. But yeah, the more I watch about Michael Pierce, the more I'm excited about him. Head coach, hey, Tomb Raider, the video game was great. I agree. I never actually played it, so I'll take your word for it. Stan Lamaros, who has the goofiest face on the Vikings? Kirk. Klinkus, which former Vikings player should be most likely in the Hall of Fame, but always got overlooked? Keep up good work, Skull from Germany. Skull over there, Guten Tag. Jim Marshall, that's an easy one. You have the Iron Man. I think Jim Marshall sort of, it's actually a detriment that he was with so many great defensive linemen on that team. Carl Eller, Alan Page. So some of the Hall of Fame voters are like, we're really going to put in 3 linemen from that team, but it's a shame. I think he'll get in posthumously, which what's the point? It sucks. Great for his family though. I also say Joey Browner. Like if who's the Seahawks? Easley. Seahawks Hall of Fame safety. Like if Kenny Easley. Is that his name? Safety player, Easley. Yeah, Kenny Easley. If Kenny Easley is in the Hall of Fame, why isn't Joey Browner? because they do have similar resumes. And again, it's not so much a knock against Kenny Easley. Respect. He was an all-time great player, but Joey Browner is certainly up there as well. Nick Doroff ranked the main announcer pairs for CBS, Fox, NBC, and ESPN. So Charles Davis got bumped up, didn't he? All right, so it's Buck and Aikman at Fox. It's Collinsworth and Michaels at NBC. ESPN is TBD. And then CBS is Nance and Romo. All right, so I'm going to go Michaels and Collinsworth. It's more that I really love and respect Michaels. And Collinsworth has come a long way, especially since he bought PFF. He's phenomenal. He brings a lot of knowledge. And you really just like the Kentucky aw shucks attitude. Like, you love that. CBS, I mean, Romo speaks for himself. Also, Jim Nance is a legend. Fox, Buck and Aikman is like, yeah, whatever. And ESPN, I don't know. They're probably going to screw it up. They should pay whatever it takes to get Peyton in the Monday Night booth just to see what happens. I would pair him up with... I think Monday Night is going to go after Al Michaels after his Sunday Night Football contract is up. But gosh, who should they go with? Honestly, if they brought in like Kevin Harlan, if he currently isn't tied down to a TV contract, or even if he is, just buy out the contract. Kevin Harlan, Peyton Manning on Monday Night would be amazing. Or Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, because I believe they do the national radio telecast together. I mean, Kurt Warner, by the way, very underrated. Like, he's great on radio. You do great on TV. Andy's Evil Twin, since you're a history type of guy, what's your favorite battle war? I'll go to the Battle of Vienna due to it being Islam, stopping Islam to European countries. It would have changed the world. No disrespect to anyone. God. All right, so that was the reconnaissance and force battle, right? Huh. Was it called the Battle of Vienna? You can't get off the top of my head. I want to say it wasn't the Battle of Tours. Oh, Battle of Poitiers? Was that it? No. But for me, so I love all the Hannibal battles, like Lake Trasimene, Carré, where Hannibal was a straight up military genius. Cannae, not Carey. I always juxtapose Cannae and Carey. So Carey is the one where Crassus led the Roman legions into Parthia and just they got shot up in the desert. But yeah, the Battle of Carey, Battle of Lake Trasimene, like Hannibal was a legit military genius. Oh, Siege of Saguntum was great. Battle of all right, so just take the Trebia and Lake Trasimene just in terms of all-time great battles and traps, and you have one of the best generals in antiquity. Like, it's... but then you throw in Cannae, which, I mean, modern-day generals are still obsessed with Cannae, where you have a smaller force completely envelop a larger force and destroy it. And you look at his strategy of Cannae. So... Roman red, and then you have the smaller Carthaginian force in blue. And then the fact that, so initially the battle line for this, there was a bulge in the middle, and the Romans attacked that right in the middle. It was like auxiliary, well, Carthaginians were basically all auxiliary, but like not great troops in the middle. So they started to give way, and then some of the better mercenaries on the outside, they just enveloped the Romans, and Rome lost like 50,000 troops that day. Like, it was bad. It was bad. So Hannibal is always my favorite general of antiquity. I guess Caesar versus Pompey at Pharsalus. It's very intriguing in that it turned into basically like a World War I battle where there was lots of trenches. There was just lots of siege works because the Roman soldiers were part construction worker, part soldier. So yeah, let's say Pharsalus. Let's say Cannae. Certainly up there. I haven't done enough research on Alexander the Great to have a real opinion about that, but it is. I want to know how far he would have gone. Like, was India it, or would he have kept sweeping through, or would he have gone back to Western Europe, or conquer Carthage, or conquer more of Northern Africa? What would have been? Boom. Next up is Husgamer15, what are your thoughts on Joe Buck saying that broadcasts would be pumping in fake crowd noise and maybe virtual fans in stands? That's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Let the games be what they're going to be. Let this be a very weird year. Because I want to look back at highlights of 2020 when the Vikings go 13-3, get the number 1 seed, win a Jerome, to empty crowds, just the eeriness of being able to hear every single comment, every part of the cadence. I want to do that. It's just, why? Oh, because people are used to crowd noise. Who cares? Stupid Joe Buck, stupid Fox. Aaron Rodgers, BFF and lover. If you like history, you should watch Oversimplify, a great, funny history channel. That just popped up on my feed, so I'm going to check that out. Skull Vikes. Okay, so thoughts on Baker and Dunbar. Do teams know about some of this thuggish behaviors of players that are totally unaware? Well, with Baker and Dunbar, it did seem like nothing. This is completely unexpected. So Dunbar was undrafted, it's whatever, but Baker was a first-round pick. And during the draft process last year, there was not a peep of any character red flags, anything like that with Baker. And it did seem like DeAndre Baker is the catalyst. He was the alpha dog here in this whole armed robbery situation. Dunbar seems like he was just sort of along for the ride, but man, really came out of nowhere over he lost. You lost at a card game, and then you come back to that same card game a couple days later and you rob it in broad daylight. It's people that you know. It's just so stupid. Jerome also. So there's 2 things that are going to happen here. One, they go to the police, which they did, which actually is probably the best case scenario for DeAndre. 2, they don't go to the police, and they take justice into their own hands. They go full vigilante on the bit, which would have been the worst possible outcome for Baker and Dunbar, and they probably would have ended up dead. And it's just so stupid, just so moronic. Jerome Shalom, bucket list stadium to visit. Actually, I would have more baseball stadiums on my list because, I mean, football stadiums are whatever. There isn't any history. I haven't been to Lambeau, so I guess go there. But, I mean, Soldier Field is probably the most historic stadium left. And it's whatever. You landed a spaceship on Soldier Field. Congratulations. So I'm not really chomping at the bit to go into any football stadiums, but baseball, I mean, Fenway. I guess the new Yankee Stadium is not the same. Camden Yards seems like a great stadium. I always loved the Pittsburgh Stadium, even though it's not historical. It's just a great baseball stadium. Been to Wrigley, been to Chavez Ravine, which I call that historical. It's whatever. I guess is that about it. I guess the Giants Stadium with Covey Cove, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, it's more baseball stadiums. I guess Madison Square Garden. I'll watch a basketball game, so hopefully the Knicks aren't in town. Steve Perez, when the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl, who would be your ideal opponent? Not just a weak team, but one. I would pick the Ravens or the Chiefs. Give me the 1 seed from the AFC. I want this to be an epic showdown. I want this to be not a fluke. If Tennessee made the Super Bowl last year, I mean, that certainly would have taken the shine off of who was in the Super Bowl last year from the NFC? Am I an idiot? Chiefs, Super. Wow. I mean, the Super Bowl, all right, the Niners, yeah. So if the Niners would have beaten the Titans, it would have just been like, yeah, whatever, congratulations. But man, I can't believe I just blanked on who the NFC team was in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, it just speaks. Doesn't the Niners Chiefs Super Bowl seem like it took place 5 years ago? That's what it seems like. Eric Hansen, have you ever had Ham's beer? Born land of sky blue waters. It's the best of all the cheap beers. I agree. I do fully agree. Plus, if you ever want to do a beer batter, Ham's is great. Where Ham's, in terms of domestic beer, it does have a lot of flavor to it and adds a lot of flavor to the batter. So do that up too. Well, it's a great cheap beer. I'm trying to think of my list of great cheap beers. Beers. Does Grain Belt count? Yeah, Grain Belt. I've always liked Coors Light. Yeah, I know the Mick Golden Light is the official beer of Minnesota. It's sort of whatever to me. Oh, Keystone Light. At Keystone Light because it's made in the same brewery as Coors Light, so it's basically Coors Light. It's like the dented cans. That's the rumor, anyways, isn't it? Keystone Light is Coors Light. Keystone Light is just Coors Light where the cans are dented and rebranded as a cheaper Keystone Light. Fact or myth? Whatever. Oh, hold on. Mountain Crest and Creek. All right, so I forget where we were, but we were on the road, and no, I don't want maps. We bought up. We were like a bunch of broke college kids, so we just bought up some really cheap beer and Mountain Crest. Mountain Crest. I have no idea where it was, but it's sort of like PBR. Actually, PBR for cheap beer is pretty damn good too. All right, so Mountain Crest, and then also there was a Mountain Creek. So I don't know if this is like a Hardee's or Carl Jr. situation, or is one a knockoff of the other. I don't even know. There you go. That's some hot beer talk. Next up is Len Jensen. Do you see any potential regression in the play of Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr? No. Are there replacements priority in next year's draft? I think Josh Metellus as well as Harrison Hand, I think, will move to safety. So I think there's some decent replacements there right there on the roster. Oh, Omar Max, let's say Vikings go 9-7 and lose in the first round in the playoffs, and Cousins has 320 and Trey Lance available at your pick. Do you take him? Yes. Yes, you do. Toby Larone, rank our offense and defense this season. Offense, 12. Defense, 5. Stanley Morris, Expendables movie, cheesy action but fun. Fully agree. Like full on ensemble cast, just getting after it, like stupid cliche throw lines. It's great. The Montreal Screwjob. Who's the better defensive duo? Pat Williams and Kevin Williams, Jared Allen, Ray Edwards, Everson and Daniil, Harrison, Anthony Harris, Greenway, EJ, Anthony Barr, Kendricks. Everson, Daniil, and it's not particularly close. It just isn't. Stanley Morris, Harold Kumar. We don't speak about the third movie. Those movies are great. They're really good. So the first one, awesome. The sequels, not so much. But it was just it was a unique take on something that you've seen before. The buddy, adventure, road trip movie, and it was just good. Like Cal Penn is awesome. John Cho is great as well. He's the pinnacle of Korean actors. Skull Nation. Who are the top 5 edge rushers in the NFL in your opinion? Daniil, Von Miller, still doing the damn thing. I guess. Do you have to say Shaq Barrett? You might have to. God, I put Zadarius Smith up there. God, that hurts. Oh, that would have hurt. Well, Zadarius Smith if he got to play Riley Reef every single week. D Ford. Frank Clark. All right, let's look. Wiki 2020 NFL sack leaders. It's a nature ball rec flair. Sacks. There we go. Come on. All right, so Chandler Jones. God, what am I thinking? All right, so top 5, I would go Hunter, Chandler Jones, Cam Jordan. Man, this is tough. I would still say Von Miller. TJ Watt. Yeah, it's close. Man, there's so many good edge rushers out there, though. It's insane. Plus, my boy Max Crosby, baby Jared Allen. Loved him coming out of Eastern Michigan. Vikings should have drafted him. Sam Morales, do you think Daniil Hunter is the next J.J. Watt or Chandler Jones? Probably more Chandler Jones. J.J. is more of a defensive interior, more of a 3-4-5 tech. But Daniil Hunter is his own man. Like Chandler Jones wants to be Daniil Hunter when he grows up. Ba with the ba. These Bear fans need to stop acting up. Yeah. surprisingly, a lot of Bear fans just really like to get after it. It's funny. Mr. Popo, do you think if the Vikings never made the trade for Walker, the Cowboys don't win those Super Bowls? Yes. Yes. Full agree. Eric Normal. Has Michael Kendricks, because from the draft picks, they got Russell Maryland, they got Darren Woodson, they traded up for Emmitt Smith. So, no, yeah, they don't win the Super Bowls. Eric Normal, as Michael Kendricks signed with the other team as of yet, and if not, why not us? I said, yeah, I agree, although I like Troy Dye. Pulford Skull, last one. Ooh. Really hoping common sense prevails and training camp can start in July for the sake of America. We need sports again one time. Korean baseball has taken off and is actually pretty fun to watch. There's a Twins team. Yeah, there is a Twins team, isn't there? Also, soccer is supposed to open. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that things do need to start opening up. I think the economy does have to start get going. Although, if you do have densely populated regions, I think that the rules are going to be really different, but yeah, I think we're sold a bit of a bill of goods, but is what it is. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But happy note, Friday. It is awesome. Thank you guys for coming along. Love you guys. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, supporting the work, support independent media. Put a little something in the Venmo. You got paid today. I know you did. As well as hit that join box, become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Love you guys. We'll be back 11 a.m. Central Time. Hit that up. Skull. Production value.